Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Guess what just fired up? Those blowers, you know, the landscape guys. I can't escape them. You know, you're not going to escape the world. So I'm sure that this person is probably watching, but the person that can't stand Americans because we're loud and obnoxious, we expect everybody to know our language. You're on my channel, and the very thing that we're trying to break through is the very thing that you're expressing, that I shouldn't speak a certain way, that you don't like it, and I'm supposed to change for you. Why? Because you're European, and an American might think something different of you. These are the differences and the separation that have to end. I'm an American. I'm walking around an American. You know, when I lived in Europe, I had to deal with this constantly. I got the criticisms. I was a walking country. Not an individual, not an individual expression of just a person. And I had to battle that the whole time. I was not welcome many places. Why? Because I was American, not because I was Landria. So one day I lied and I told somebody I was Canadian, and then they let me have it even more, saying that we didn't have a backbone and that we didn't stand for anything. And I said, well, if you're going to pick on me, I'm going to go back to being American. I might as well be what I am and be proud of it. I'm not proud of the country, the persona, the culture. I'm proud that I'm an individual trying to contribute on this planet. I'm proud that I'm doing my best, and I'm not perfect. And yeah, I might say too much, or what was it, or whatever it was that I was being picked on for. Why do we do that to each other? When does that stop? When do we have tolerance for one another? Because somebody speaks differently? You know what? I used to live in Sweden, and there was one American who came in that was very loud and obnoxious. And I can't say that I was proud at that moment to be an American. But there were several Americans in that room, and nobody heard them. They heard the one that had the big mouth that was spewing off some negativity, not because he was American, but because he was just a negative person. But of course, people saw the American, the ugly American in the room, but they didn't hear the other 8 Americans that were politely sitting at their tables. So therefore, Americans are ugly. I've had to live with that. There are very few countries that treated me very well once they found I was American, unless they knew I was going to tip them well, because Americans tip well. That's pretty sad, isn't it? But I'm going to tell you something. I live in a country where people come from everywhere, and we do the same thing. We want people to be like us, to be Americans, and I don't even know what that even means anymore. Do you know what you are? Have you been told what you are? And because how you live and think and your culture, you believe that that's the right way? You know what? I had a friend who was German who felt the same way about Americans. And she came over here and she spent quite a bit of time, and her whole outlook changed. She said it felt really good to laugh as loud as you could in a restaurant and not have anybody look at you. In fact, other people would start laughing. She said it was really great to talk loud and not have to worry about it. If you got boisterous, it was okay. She realized that we have 50 states, and most of those states are bigger than most countries, and that we're all very individualized states and cultures and people here, and that we're a big melting pot, and that our news, we seem very ignorant. Well, my news in my county, she realized, in my state, took longer to listen to than the news for her entire country. So why don't you visit America and figure out for yourself what we're really like? We're the most hospitable people, and we love people, and we want people to love America. We treat people well. We take people in our homes. And you know what? It's not such a bad thing. And when you're here, you're going to love America. And if you don't, that's okay too. But can we just enjoy each other and recognize that we're going to be different? And that your different might not be somebody's cup of tea either. And that's what makes us beautiful, but you're seeing the fault in it. There's ignorance everywhere. And ignorance is also painting an entire country as one type of person. That's ignorance, my friend. Ignorance is not looking at everybody as an individual expression that comes from certain cultures, that has a certain skin color, certain way of thinking. Look at that individual person and see how they're treating you. For every ugly American, there's going to be 9 more in the room that are going to be amazing. And that goes for your culture too. Again, I wasn't welcome when I lived over in Europe in very many places. In fact, I had to sometimes pretend I wasn't American. There's something wrong with that. We don't look at each other and get to know who's behind these eyes. We don't see the energy. We have assumptions and we paint everything and every government and every person as one thing. And if it's negative, that's how wars start. When does this end? When does the separatism end? Can you join me in becoming just one world where we're all going to speak differently? Sometimes it's annoying. Why? Because you're not from that and you don't understand it and you're not used to it. You know what? I like to laugh really loud and I like to talk the way I talk. And people seem to like that. And if they don't, that's okay too. I don't need approval. So if you're bothered by the way I speak, well, there's a lot of Europeans out there giving great teachings too. That won't offend me. I send you blessings no matter what. But my friend, I hope you can get past this. This is a barrier for you, not me. This is you feeling that you are right and that that annoyingness is a message to look deep inside and ask yourself why you would think like that, and what's going to happen when you cross over to the other side, and how important was that. And speaking up and saying something negative, for me, that did a lot more damage than anything you could have thought. And it did it to you, not to me. So it's time for us to stop this. It's time for us to share our opinions, to be different, to not always agree, but to respect one another. And speak only when you feel it's necessary and that it could be productive, right? It could be good for somebody. Are we complaining just to voice our ego's opinion? Yeah, most of the time we are. We all do it. So I send you my blessings, my dear friend. I'm proud to be American. I'm proud to be part of a country that has all kinds of faults, that's full of all kinds of opinions, that's obnoxious and beautiful and giving and wonderful all at the same time. And I know that all of that exists within your country. We're one united world if we choose to be. And I invite you to be a part of that. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious and happy. Blessings, my friend. Namaste.